Welcome. My name is Laurens Wapenaar. I am product manager at FinDock, and with me is Klaas Kooistra, also product manager at FinDock. And together we would like to talk about what we are releasing in our September release this year. This September release is already in your sandbox environments, automatically pushed from our site. And we will also automatically push this release to production environments, September the 25th, Sunday, late in the evening. If you want to follow the release with live updates, you can go to status.findock.com and subscribe there. So what are we going to talk about today? We've got two running pilots that we love to talk about that we are taking a step further, which are the pilot around payment schedule performance and the pilot with giving pages and custom domains. And since this is a summer release, there's a lot of bugs and enhancements, and also a few things that require your attention possibly, but those will come at the end. On those pilot and beta features, with this September release, we're taking payment schedule performance to beta and custom domains as well. And if everything goes well the coming months, which we expect, then we will take them to GA in November. And there's a new pilot that we will be talking about very soon. Klaas will tell what this means when we talk about taking these two pilots. Klaas.
Thank you, Laurens. So I will be taking you through the highlights of the two new features that we are going to take to beta. First up is the payment schedule performance. So we've been working on the payment schedule performance, but it's important to start with why are we doing this? Payment schedule performance, especially in larger orgs, can take a long time, and we wanted to improve the performance, especially around the generate step. So your system is up faster, there's less risk, and you get faster feedback on your collection runs. The payment schedule performance is made up of 3 steps. So the generating of the installments, the processing of the payments, and the close step in Salesforce. This pilot, which we are taking to beta right now, is focusing on the generate step of this process. So no changes should be expected in the close step or the processing of payments. We've made significant improvements there. So how much faster are you probably wondering? So we've run a lot of tests with our pilot customers and want to thank them for their cooperation here. The data that you see here is that you can see up to a 25x improvement in speed of the generate step, which take that step from hours to minutes. We've run hundreds of tests with our beta customers, and the data you see here is from those sandbox environments. So this is like an actual organization and not our internal testing only, which is a significant increase and significantly reduces the time needed to run a payment schedule, especially when you're running hundreds or thousands or even million records. We're moving this to beta, which means you can start using it today in your sandbox environments, and when it goes to production in the release, you can start using it in production. But to do that, since it's beta, you need to enable this in setup. It's available for use with FinDock Standalone, MPSP, and Converse, and we want to thank the CSIS in particular for working with us, making sure this is available for Converse customers when we release this, and this works for any type of payment schedule. Next up is our custom domains pilot. Again, it's important to start with why we are developing custom domains. It's a way to increase trust, perception of security, brand recognition, and your SEO score when you use giving pages. And there are 2 things we needed to do to move this from pilot to beta. One is certificate management. So we've automated the process of renewing and monitoring the SSL certificates, so your domains will always be ready to use. Secondly, there was no option yet to delete a custom domain, and we've added that as well in this release. So that makes it possible for us to move this into beta stage. So how can you get started on custom domains? First up, is important to talk about availability. Custom domains will be free to use for all customers. There's one domain available per Salesforce org, and it's very easy to set up. If you go into the FinDock Pages Manager, you can click the wrench icon and start using and adding your custom domain today in Sandbox and when the release is there in production. We're really keen on hearing your feedback from this, so do let us know if you run into anything, have feedback on potential improvements, or just want to share how you like it. So definitely send us an email either to Lawrence or to support.
Okay.
That's it for the betas.
Thanks, Klaas. If you would like to see a demo of how custom domains work and how to enable it, you can find the previous July release webinar on our YouTube channel. So on to the bugs and enhancements. Before we go through the regular bugs and enhancements, there's two things I would like to highlight. One is that 2 days ago, Handelsbanken announced that they will no longer cooperate with the ideal payment method in the Netherlands, which means you need to remove this issuer from your custom web form if you have it. If you have dynamically implemented our API, then simply the Handelsbanken choice will not be there for these customers anymore. And if you've given page or pay links, of course, from FinDock side, we will automatically update this. But make sure that if you have a custom implementation of on top of our API, that you check whether you still offer Handelsbanken as an option for ideal payments. This change will happen October 1st from Handelsbanken perspective, but we will roll it out probably a few days earlier to make sure nothing goes wrong. The second thing is that Salesforce is now enforcing their enhanced domain feature with the Winter 23 release and has started to enforce this in sandboxes this month, or previous month actually. In production, you will not have to do changes. We make sure this works for pay links, giving pages, and our other features. However, we have seen that if this is automatically enforced in sandboxes, Salesforce automatically changes your domain from your domain.my.salesforce.com to your domain.sandbox.mysalesforce.com. So if you have an API integration with Salesforce in general, so also with FinDock, and you use this domain URL, please check for your test environments whether you need to update this. We have written an FAQ about what the impact on FinDock is, and also you can of course find information on help.salesforce.com on what enhanced domain means in general. So on to the bugs and enhancements. One thing we'd like to talk about is that we are continuously updating our documentation with useful documents to implement and use FinDock. A new thing that we've added is a quick start, which is basically a very condensed step-by-step way of getting started with FinDock in a clean environment, going step by step to installing FinDock, assigning permission set, configuring FinDock, and we've seen customers and partners do this in minutes to hours. But this is a very quick and basic way to get up and running, to refresh, for instance, what's needed to implement and configure FinDock, or if you just want to check out some new features, this is the fastest way to get set up. Next to that, I'd also like to highlight, for instance, changes we've done to the payment schedule. We've added some summary fields that were requested by customers. So on how many installments are attached to a payment schedule, how many what the total amount is. Of course, you could already generate or calculate this by writing custom code or flows, but we've created an easy way to do this. So you can check, are all the installments connected, or run automation based on top of this. And the second thing we'd like to highlight is that Stripe has been cracking down on 3DS challenges, and sometimes sends us basically a next action question. And we were not handling these as failures because Stripe sends us a notification in the payment schedule that the payment is okay, but it was okay only if you do X or Y, which is something you of course cannot do anymore if you run it from a payment schedule. This doesn't happen much, but we have now made sure that if this happens, the installment goes to failed, so you can follow up instead of the installment saying in a new status. These are basically the things that I'd like to highlight from our bugs and enhancements. Of course, you can read everything we've discussed in detail in our release notes. If you have any questions about this, please reach out to us at support@findock.com and we'll answer your questions, or of course, put them in the chat in this webinar. And before we go, we'd like to talk a little bit about what's next. So two of the things we are working on are Ideal QR for the Netherlands, which is a way to generate ideal QR codes that can be used in direct mail or digital channels to pay with the very popular Ideal method. And Ideal QR is becoming a bit of a staple in fundraising circles. And the second thing we are working on is doing Moto payments for credit cards with Stripe, which means accepting one-time and recurring payments from your Salesforce environment by an agent who's on the phone with the donor, or when someone mails you their credit card information, and creating a component that can be embedded in Salesforce and in Flow. For both of these, we are looking for launching customers. So if you have an existing FinDock setup that's ready to go, basically, and you are interested in these features, please contact us, and we'd love to work with you to get these features up to a high standard and to take them live. Something we mentioned in our previous emails is that we're working on a way to open source some components or things that are not part of the product, but that our developers have worked on in FinDock Labs, but we'll keep that as a topic for the future. So again, if there's anything you would like to check out in detail, we've got the release notes up on the website, or you can, of course, contact us. We will stick around for your questions, but that was it for today. And thank you for joining. And we hope to see you in our next webinar when we will have lots to share. Thank you and have a great weekend.